Alright, welcome to the Mono Red Sanji video. And the first game up is a big meta battle against the blue-purple Luffy, the most infamous and well-known deck in this current format, solely because it's kind of the tier 0 deck of our format. This matchup does get real difficult for us. It comes down to a very big race. You need to see specific cards real fast, like the 2-cost Sanji. And then here, I do play out another one, so I can use the first one's effect. And then I'm only swinging 6 with leader, and then I'm swinging 8 with the second one. We don't want to get down super low in life. They do get a trigger with a Raging Tiger, but they're down to 2 life now, so we at least got a life that turn. And the bad part is we're down to 3 already. So here they're just going to swing 10 into our Sanji instead of us, which means they don't seem to know the matchup as well. So here we're just going to play out a 5-drop, our Chaka, which allows us to be able to swing for 7k twice. 7k with the Chaka and then 7k with lead because of its ability. It's one of the better vanillas in the deck, and it's definitely one of the ones that you need in this matchup. So here, he's already down to 0 life, meaning he doesn't really have too much counter. He is going to be at 8 Dawn starting this turn, so he could play out a 8-cost Katakuri. So that is something that we do have to worry about a little bit, but we do have the 6-cost Warpole to be able to nullify its big body. So here on our turn, we're just going to play out this Wapole, attach a Dawn to it, and attach it on to Shaka so we can get 2 7k swings, and then we attack with Wapole first to be able to get the minus 2k on the Katakuri, so that way then he can't get a free block. So here in game number 2, we're against another meta deck of the format. It's the infamous Bello Betty. If you're going to play aggro, she is one of the decks to be looking at, but if you want a different take, then this Sanji is definitely the one that I would go with for this format. Either Sanji or the Red Dragon, which I do have a video posted of Red Dragon if you want to see what a different red rush deck can do. That one takes care of Revo army cards instead of your traditional Straw Hats. So here, it's kind of a difficult matchup. Sometimes you need to just rush them down and hope that you can get there. Other times you can worry about the board. This game, I played against multiple, so it's hard for me to remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that this game, I start off not wanting to swing too much at them. I'm trying to chip them little by little. I know that a lot of their triggers require having a combined total of 5 life or less for them and the opponent, so it's not too bad, but they did get the Lindbergh, so then that's the reason why I swung the Sanji that turn instead of holding it back, because I might as well attack with it if they're just going to KO it with Lindbergh effect. Here they're swinging 5. They did play out the 5-cost Ivankov, which got them a Karasu, which is huge for them. So I'm going to have to heavily counter out this turn to survive. Make sure that I'm not at like super low life. So they do get the Sanji. Here I do get a Mulgun from life as a trigger. I'm debating about using it, and I do decide to use it. I'm going to use it on their blocker Karasu just to guarantee that it doesn't have a swing this turn, because I don't want to throw away even more counter. So here I'm just thinking I could play out this Pell. So I'm going to start off with just a 2k into 2, see if they give me one of their last 2 cards in hand. They're really debating about it, as you can see, because if they can keep their board, which they do give me counter, so that means I can just go Pell here, attach a Dawn, and then I can swing, use Pell's effect, pop their blocker, and now I can get rid of that Lindbergh as well. And then I'm going to be able to swing Sanji into their Betty on the field, being able to clear 3 bodies that turn. And I got a card out of their hand too. So here, I don't know exactly what they're thinking about. They may have been a little bit mad because of this, but like trying to figure out why did their Karasu get popped. Most people don't really know how this deck really works, or like what their key cards are, or like what the major effects for when attacking are from the Sanji decks. So I don't really blame them for that. After that, we do pass turn. So it's even on life right now, but I can promise you that while playing this game, I was sweating. The Bello Betty deck is just so explosive when it can just randomly luck draw into the cards that it needs. It has so many strong effects like the Karasu, but for Sanji, we're very simple-minded. We are very much unga bunga, as some people would say, and that is both a pro and con, you know? Sometimes complexity can help, but sometimes it also hinders too. You can overthink your plays. So here they still use leader effect. They do swing for 8 with the Karasu. We're just gonna take that one. They did minus on the Pell instead of us, and then they're just swinging 13 into the Pell. And then they play another Karasu. So they have no cards in hand, which means I don't have to worry too much about counter. So here I'm just thinking, what would be the best play? So I could just, I'm on 8 Dawn, I could just Rayleigh and get rid of 2 bodies for sure. And then be able to keep the Mulgun to get rid of something that's standing. And I'm thinking that that's the right play. So here I'm just going to kill the Karasu, because that's the problematic card. That's the one that I need to get rid of for sure, and then I'm just going to swing into the Ivankov. So they have 1 card in hand, they're at 9 Dawn, and they have a Karasu. So here they're going to swing for 10 at us. We're just going to take that. And then they play the Lindbergh out. So here we're at 10 Dawn. There's a couple different things that we could do. One of the things that you can do in this situation is you could play a Beckman, get rid of the Lindbergh, play out a Sanji, and be able to have 3 attackers right there. It is risky because there's a lot of triggers that could happen. So you could do your first 2 attacks first. So here I am going to swing first. I know that they can't counter out, so they're going to take that. It's not a trigger, that's good. Now we're going to swing for 8. This could be a trigger. They're hesitating on it. It is, so they play out a Kuma. So then here, I'm just going to Mulgun, get rid of the Lindbergh, and then I'm going to play out a blocker and leave 2 Dawn up to make it seem like maybe I have a Radical Beam. You know, I am red. I could have that. You know, I could have the Punk Hazard event as well that you see a lot of red-green, what is it, red-green Smoker running. So here they do top tech into their 3 costs that gains rush if they have another card that has 7k or more power. So I know here they have 4 good swings if they put the Dawn correctly. So I can block out of 1, so that leaves 3 swings, so I have to counter out of 2 swings to survive. In my hand, I have, what is that? That's 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 8k counter in hand. So as you can see, this match comes very much to the wire. This is down to the wire as you can get, and that's just how aggro matchups are. So they are taking their time thinking about the numbers to swing with. They know that if they swing with the Karasu, they have to go for game with it. So here they're swinging 7. So here I'm just going to 2k, 1k out. So now they have a 7k, they have 2 7ks and a 5k left. So they're going to swing another 7. So here at this point, I'm thinking, should I counter out of this one? Which, yeah, because they still have 3 Dawn left. So I am just going to counter out of that. We're holding on to the Beckman and the Chaka because I could play the Chaka next turn, guaranteeing another attacker if need be. Here they go 8. I'm just going to take that one. And then they're going to go... what is that? That is 9, and they're going at the Rayleigh instead. So here I can just counter out. I don't even have to use my chopper this turn for blocking, which is huge. But that pretty much wraps up this game. It's pretty easy to just deal the damage and win. So alright, so game number 3, we're against the Starter Deck 21 Luffy. Another very big meta deck. Or, well, not so much meta, more just one of the bigger rush decks out there if you're looking at a lot of them. It is really good. A lot of people love it. I would say that Sanji's better than it, but it's difficult to figure out how they are compared to each other. It's very much just a touch and go matchup. So here they're swinging, they're doing their little Dawn manipulation with leader effect. They did get their 1-cost Nami, so we are down to 4. We did have to counter out of that one. So here we're at 4 Dawn as well. So there's a couple different things that we could do here. So I'm just going to swing 5 at the 3-cost Zoro. This way I get a card out of their hand. And then my play is going to be play the Sanji, give it rush, and then attach my final Dawn to it so I can swing 7 at the Zoro. That is 2 attacks going at it, but if they want to keep it alive, that would be 3 cards out of hand. So here they're debating heavily about which card to get rid of, because if I was in their shoes, I would definitely try to save this Zoro. And then here, as you see, the play that I was talking about, now we can swing 7 into it. So now they're faced with another difficult decision. Do they counter out to keep the Zoro? So if they do counter out, there's a couple different plays that we have our next turn based off of her hand. None of them are really super good. They do counter out. So now we're going to have to make sure that we counter out of at least 1 attack next turn, because we don't want to take, 3 swings. But here they play out a Searcher Nami. They get another Zoro, but it's the Starter Deck 21 Zoro, the one that's in my hand right now, the 4-cost. So they're swinging 5. We're going to counter out of that. They're going to swing 6. So we will take that one, and then they're going to play that Zoro, use leader effect to swing 7 with it. So I'm down to 2 life now, which is real bad. But they only have 1 card left, and they didn't remove the Sanji on my field. So here I'm just thinking, what is the best play that I could possibly do? So I need to try to remove these bodies. So I'm going to swing 6 into the 4-cost Zoro. I want to see if he counters out of this, or if he lets it go, and then if he plays a card from it. So this is giving me a lot of knowledge just by swinging into this. So he lets it go, and then he doesn't use effects. So that means that the card in his hand is either a event or something that has higher than 6k power, or is a counter that he just doesn't want to play. So here I'm going to swing 7, guaranteeing that I can get rid of the other Zoro. And then I'm just going to play out our 4-cost blocker, the Chopper. So, don't know exactly what he was thinking about so long there, but it happens. So now it's on to his turn. He still has 2 characters that he can swing with if he uses his Dawn. And then he still has Sleeter Swing, so we still need to be a little bit worried here. So he has 2 cards in hand. He attaches 1 to leader, 2 to leader, 3. So he's swinging for 8. I'm thinking I will most likely just take this one. I could block though. So I do decide I'm just gonna block. I'm thinking, do I want to counter out of this? If I do, then there's a high chance that he just swings at me with something else. So here, he does play the 4-cost Zoro, and then he swings for 8 with it. So I have to take that one. So now, I'm at 8 Dawn. I'm just thinking Beckman is going to be huge here if he does have something. I could just Beckman, get rid of the Zoro, and then not even have to worry about its on KO trigger. The other thing that I could do is I could play this Pell. So I do play out the Pell. I'm going to give it a Dawn. I'm going to swing 7 into the Zoro and get rid of the Nami that's giving him a free Dawn every turn to his leader. So this is guaranteed to get rid of the Zoro, and now my only worry is, does he play the card from hand off of the Zoro effect? He doesn't, so we're a little bit more in the clear. Now we're gonna swing at face because we definitely need to start putting some pressure on. We're gonna swing 7 as well. We're gonna keep 1 Dawn up just because we like to bluff the Radical Beam if we're in this type of situation. So here they do get the 8-cost Dragon. So they're going to swing 8 at us. This one we have to counter out of. We have just enough counter to counter out of it, and that's the whole reason why we have to counter out of this swing, not the next one. Because now they can use leader effect and then swing 11 at us. Luckily they didn't go for board. If they went for board, then it would be much harder for us. Here we're at 10 Dawn, so we have to go for game here. We have no blocker Chopper in our hand. There's nothing that we can do other than go for game. So I'm just thinking, what is the highest chance of us being able to get game? So I'm just counting my Dawn. I decide I'm gonna do a, think about it again. I was thinking about just doing a 5k swing with lead, which I do decide to do because I'm most likely going to play out both of these 5-cost Luffys to give me 2 extra swings. So that way then it's a total of 5 swings that I have this turn. So they do counter out of that one. So here I'm just going to go one of the 6k swings. They take it. I'm going to go another 6k swing. They take that one as well. So I'm like, okay, so there's a chance here, right? So now I swing with this Luffy. They take that one as well. I'm like, okay, I need to pray for a miracle. Let's see if we get there.